You know that expression that your salary is the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with? I would change that and say your currency or your value is the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And if you're looking around and you're not surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, people who challenge you to be better, people who are somewhere where you want to be, and that could be professionally, it could be personally, it could be a super mom, it could be a boss, it could be a business owner, whatever the case may be. I'm here to tell you, Podsters, you become what you surround yourself with. And the people that you're surrounding yourself with, they will influence you. Their energy will influence you. So choose carefully because eventually you will become them, some version of them. So make sure the people you're hanging out with are someone that you'd want to emulate. So look around, Podstars. Look around your friend group, look around your professional groups, the people you're hanging out with, and make sure that these are people that are going to help you get to where you want to go. And with that, we dive in today, Podsters. Are you ready to speak up, stand out, and get your seat at the table? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to Unmute Yourself, the podcast where you'll get real life anecdotes and actionable tools for you to step into your strengths, debunk imposter syndrome, truly know your worth, and show up like you own the room every time. I'm your host, Nancy Medoff, who did the thing and followed my passion for empowering women like you to unleash that inner spark and become who you know you are meant to be. I'm a diehard foodie with a raging Skittles habit who will not stop until women everywhere unmute themselves and truly thrive at work, at home, or wherever you may be. Let's do this. Podsters, we're back. And today we are talking about who you're surrounding yourself with. And I could have come in here with all the snazzy memes and quotes and statistics that are floating around. I think your net worth is the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with, and surround yourself with people who lift you up and support you, which is very true. All of these things are true. The reason why I'm not using any of those quotes is because I think they're a little cheesy. And what I want to talk about today is how mindfully paying attention to who you are talking with, hanging out with, and associating with, really, that has an impact, a significant impact on your life. And as summer starts to wind down a little bit and we all get ready for the fall refresh, remember when we used to get the little pencil bags? Oh, I used to get the little pencil bags and you would put them in your pencil case, pencil pouch. I forget what it was called. And then you would put it in your notebook and you're sprucing up all your folders. I went to Staples today and they are full on back to school mode. So, in that spirit, perhaps it's time we take a look at who we're hanging out with on the playground of life. Look at this. I'm getting deep. I'm getting deep, even though I didn't want to. All right. So another reason why I want to talk about this, I thought about this a couple of weeks ago, and this is fascinating, Potters. What happens is, whoops, I come up with these ideas or I think about these things and I'm like, oh, this would be a great podcast. And I write them down. And then over the course of the next few weeks, all these signs, like I'll hear about what I wanted to talk about. So for example, I wrote down who are you surrounding yourself with. And like the next day I was on Instagram and I was looking, by the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, Nancy_Medoff. We have a lot of fun over there. And I am constantly shooting out really good nuggets about career and business development. Anyway, so I was watching Gary Vee, and I didn't know who Gary Vee was until I got into the entrepreneur space. And he's a very famous speaker and motivational speaker. And he was talking about when he went to Silicon Valley years ago. This is when like Mark Zuckerberg was a kid and Travis from Uber, all these people who disrupted the way we live. And what he was saying was before that, something along the lines of before that conference, or when he went to that conference, he realized that there are a lot of people out there doing really, really big things. And if you're hanging with the same group of people that you've always hung with, that's fine if you want to stay where you are. Great. Awesome. Maybe you don't want to do the thing. Maybe you don't want to skyrocket your business or, you know, shoot up the corporate ladder or whatever the case may be. That's fine. No shade. Stick with your OGs. And at the same time, the people you hang with, they will inform your decisions. And those decisions are your thoughts. Those thoughts will inform your decisions, that will inform your behaviors, and that will inform your outcomes. So if you want different outcomes, you need to have different thoughts. And if you're hanging out with the same people and you all share that group think, and I love that expression. I don't like what it stands for, but I love the expression group think. It's when everybody thinks the same way. That's not good if you want to innovate and reinvent yourself or take the next step to wherever it is that you want to go. And I see this. I see this with my clients. I'm going to tell you about this, and then I'm going to tell you about how I saw it with myself. I see my clients and I see the ones that do the thing and really elevate their business or switch careers even though they didn't think they could, or, really go for that brass ring job that they didn't think they could get. And I see all kinds of people, and most of the people I work with end up doing the thing and making the change. There are some who do not. And the ones who do not, I can see it coming because they continue with the same patterns and they continue with the same people. And I'm not saying that you need to dump all your friends or leave your relationship. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. What I'm saying is consciously and intentionally making the effort to surround yourself with people who are where you want to go, or people who are already doing what you want to do, or people who want the same things that you want, the same goals and the same outcomes, intentionally aligning yourself, or I actually don't even like that word because that can sound a little calculated. Intentionally seeking them out can really will make the difference. So I'm going to give you the tale of two coaching clients. One, let's call her Christine. This is a fake name, by the way. Christine came to me to help her build her business. I knew the second that I got on the Zoom with her that she was going to do it. I knew it. I just know. I can tell by someone's energy usually. So, or the energy they're bringing, like the enthusiasm they're bringing. So, and she, listen, she was nervous and it was a big investment, and I knew she would. I won't work with a client if I don't think I can help them. And I have an application, and it's a brief application, but it helps me figure out if that person's in the right headspace. Because if someone's not, that's fine. I won't work with them. And I'll give them all kinds of other tools, but I work with people who are ready to do the thing. So anyway, back to Christine, fake name. Christine worked with me, I think, for 8 weeks. It might have been 12 weeks. And she crushed it. She came in with a business idea. By the time we were done, she had everything done. She had all of her branding done. She had her website done. She had new clients. She had her copy done. She knew where she wanted to go. She then, after working with me, knew how to get there. She was ready to kill it. And she is killing it. And I noticed that she started talking less and less and less about some of the people in her life that weren't necessarily as on board as she would have liked them to be. So I noticed her talk about them a little less. And I noticed her with that open time, or that gap in her time. So she had more time because she wasn't spending as much time with the people that were not necessarily supporting her goals. And I'm not saying they were sabotaging her. They weren't on the same wavelength as her as it related to her success. So when that time and availability opened, I saw her meeting new people, and I saw her talking about other people and talking about collaborations with other people that wanted to do the same thing she wanted to do. So she crushed it. She hit the ground running, and now she's just, forget it. There's no stopping her. So then I have another client. Let's call this client Lucy. Okay. That is not her real name. So Lucy came to me to help her for a short-term goal. And I worked with her, and she was very engaged, and she didn't make any other changes in her life. And that's okay. I'm not saying that you need to blow up your life in order to have success. But I noticed her. I noticed her on LinkedIn, and I noticed her on her social media, and I noticed some of the stories she was telling me. And she was running with the same crowd, which is fine. And at the same time, when you are ready to step out and go after what it is that you want, if you are not with like minded people, you probably won't do it. So she ended up not doing the thing. She ended up blowing off our last session. She went back to her old habits and her old behaviors. And again, that's okay. That's fine. I'm who am I to judge anyone? The reason I'm sharing the story is because she was getting sucked back into her old life and her old who she used to be by the people that she was hanging out with. And you get to decide every day who you are and how you show up. Every day. You get to decide. Not your partner, not your family, not your children, not your friends. You get to decide. So I'm going to give you a positive example from my own life. So I went to a very high level, I guess is the word. I really don't like saying that. I think it sounds a little arrogant. But anyway, I went to a mastermind and it was in California. And some of you who are listening attended this mastermind. And I had no intention of networking at this mastermind. I was going because I wanted to learn from my coach and take a couple of days out of my life to actually do the work to do the thing. Very similar to the mastermind or the retreat that I'm having on November 7th and 8th. 2 days. It's in Naples, Florida. 5 women. We are going, I mean, I am keeping it small on purpose. This is a highly curated group of women, and here's why. By the way, the link is in the show notes if you want to learn more, or DM me and I'll talk to you about it. This is if you want to do the thing, this is where you need to go. So the reason why I'm curating it is because I've seen firsthand what can happen. So I walk into this room and I'm not expecting to make friends with anyone. I wasn't there to make friends. I wasn't even there to network really, honestly, frankly. I was there to do the work. At the end of this day and a half, I had 2 new clients. Well, no, two, okay, let me back up. At the end of this day and a half, I had 3 new business partners, people that I ultimately ended up working with. 3 people that are now on my team I met at this mastermind. I met a dear, dear friend who I now collaborate with weekly. And by collaborate, I mean we work together. We put out things together. I met a couple of women that I keep in touch with, and I follow them in terms of following their success, and they follow me. And we created this friendship, this, business bestie friendship. I did pod swaps. That's when I go on their podcast and they came on mine. And eventually, 2 of the women that I met at this mastermind a long time later ended up becoming clients for Speaker School. For those of you who don't know what Speaker School is, it's like a really condensed version of my coaching. And you come to me, and at the end of 3 sessions, you have your keynote, you have your speaker sheet, you have all your marketing, you have everything ready to go. I'll put a link in the show notes. This is if you want to speak on stage or if you want to hone your speaking skills. This is for you. Anyway, two of the women from this mastermind became clients. The reason why I'm telling you this is because had I not met these women and the diversity of thought that came from this mastermind, had I not met them, I would be doing the same thing that I've always been doing. And that's fine. And I would have been getting the same results. I mean, I know you've heard the expression. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you always get. So that's fine. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to level up. That's why I paid to go to this mastermind. That's why I flew across the country. That's why if you really want to do the thing, you need to go to the show notes and take a look at my Do the Thing retreat and DM me and we'll talk about it because I want to make sure it's going to be a good use of your time and your resources. So anyway, I wanted to level up, and these women helped me level up. And it wasn't like, hi, I'm Nancy. Can you help me level up? That's not what I mean. I mean, surrounding yourself with different people. They're on a different path. They might have different skill set. They might be on a different vibration, if you will. I mean, that stuff is legit. It sounds woo woo, but it really is legit. So let's talk about three different areas of your life and who you're surrounding yourself. I want to talk about personal. I want to talk about if you work for corporate, and I want to talk about if you're in business for yourself. So these are just a few things to think about. So on a personal level, you will have friends that have been with you forever, seasons, reasons, lifetime. And if you haven't heard this, there's an expression that says people will come into your life for seasons, which means they come in for a specific season of your life. Could be college, it could be, I don't know, an internship. It could be if you're going through a divorce, you have these new friends and they help you through this season. Reasons. Reasons is they came in for a specific reason and eventually that reason becomes clear to you. And then lifetime. So they're here for you, they're friends for your lifetime. So I'm not suggesting that you blow up your friendship network. I'm suggesting that intentionally making new friends is difficult and incredibly rewarding. And you might recall, Podsters, that on my summer bucket list, I had make a new friend. And that is not easy when you are a grown up. It's really not. It's actually kind of difficult. People are busy, they have their lives, they have their families, it's not like, hey, it's not as easy it was when we were younger. So, I set out to intentionally make a new friend and I actually made a few new friends, several new friends. So, you may recall, Podsters, that I on my bucket list wanted to make a new friend. And I am pleased to report that I have made several new friends, which is kind of weird. And it's not like I joined a new clique of friends or group of friends. But I made the effort and I met someone that I liked, and I liked she had a great vibe and I thought she was fun, and we had similar values and similar, I don't know, just goals, very different. I mean, she's got several kids, I don't. We're at different stages of our life, but we have a lot in common and in terms of how we view things and stuff that's important to us. So that friendship is developing. I went out of my way to make another new friend who is a powerhouse female business owner. So that's great. That's an instant connection. And we don't even really talk about business that much. She's just a friend, or she has become a friend. I have made other new friends. We're not in the initial kind of group of friends that I made when I first moved to town. So Danny and I moved to where we live now about, I think it was 5 years ago. And over the years, we made this kind of clique of friends. And he and I both said to each other, or we agreed, we love our friends. They're awesome. They are, love them. We want to make some friends out of that group. So we intentionally made friends out of that group. And that opened all different kinds of doors for new adventures, different things. Again, no shade to my existing friends. They're awesome. They're my besties. And also wanted to change it up a little bit, wanted to see what other kind of direction that I could go. So this is all to say that if you're feeling, I don't know, a little stale, or if you are feeling like you're not really going anywhere, might be time to look at your friend group. Just that's a thought. Maybe just consider it. Okay, let's talk about in the corporate space. And this is if you work for corporate America, for a corporation. I forget that we are now in like 41 countries. Hello, those of you outside the US. I love you. Um, frankly, I'm surprised you're listening because most people in Europe go on vacation for the whole summer. But anyway, or holiday for the whole summer. So what if you're working for a company or a firm, who are you hanging out with outside of your team? I find it's so interesting, Podsters. I look on LinkedIn a lot and I see people within the same company are all commenting on each other's posts, and that's great. You should. It's your company post. And very few of them are engaging with people outside of their company. And it's really interesting to me. And that's a whole nother episode. I did a LinkedIn episode a few weeks ago. I will link to it in the show notes. And what we talked about was you are your brand. When you're on LinkedIn, you're representing yourself. You're also representing your company, but it's not your company's LinkedIn page. They have one, it's yours. So, maybe branch out a little bit on LinkedIn. If you are on a team and you all are going to a trade show after the meeting, who are you hanging out with? Are you hanging out with everybody on your team? Or are you specifically going out of your way to meet new people? And I'm not talking about networking. I mean, it is networking, but I'm talking about meeting new people. It's really that simple. I did an exercise myself many, many years ago. This is probably 10, 15 years ago, might have even been 20 years ago. And this was a great exercise. And we wrote down on a piece of paper everyone that was kind of in our network or in kind of like our inner circle. And this was at work. And next to it, we wrote down what company they work for. And I realized that almost everybody I leaned on for advice worked for my company. And that's natural. Okay. Of course, it's going to be natural. And also, if you don't have at least a few people outside of your company or your team that you're leaning on or relying on or talking with or bouncing ideas off, you're selling yourself short because there's a whole big world out there. In fact, my personal board of directors exercise, that's one of the things we do. I have a tool where you can build your personal board of directors. I'm going to link to that in the show notes so you can download it if you want. It's kind of a different version of what I'm talking about right here. So who are you talking to the most? Are you talking to people on your team? Are you talking to only people in your company, only people in your industry? I mean, think about how much your own horizons could broaden if you talk to somebody in a completely different industry and intentionally went and did that. So I'm talking about intentionally widening your network. And I do this exercise sometimes with my one-on-one clients who want to pivot or change careers. And it's a rude awakening. And it's fine because we work on that, but they are like, wow, I've been with this company 20 years and I barely know anybody outside of my company well enough to pick up the phone and call them and ask for their advice. That is simply a data point. Now you know that you should seek out other people outside of your own company. Anyway, so that's what I'm talking about in the corporate space. Other departments, other divisions, higher than you, lower than you, equal to you, whatever the case may be, diversify who you're hanging out with and you will diversify your thoughts. Diversify your thoughts, you'll diversify your behaviors. Diversify your behaviors and you will diversify your outcomes. It is that simple, Podsters. Okay. Last is this is a little dicey. This is if you are in business for yourself, first of all, it's very hard to find like-minded people if you're in business for yourself. It is. I recognize that. I think it is. If you're sitting at home, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If making a product, selling a brand, writing copy, whatever blockbuster idea you have, you're probably a little bit on your own, especially if you're just starting out. So there are all kinds of really cool networking groups and I would hope you know where they are. Just look up networking in your, business networking in your town if you don't know where they are and you'll find probably 5 or 10. LinkedIn, same thing. Look up your industry, look up networking, and you'll find all these different groups. So that's if you can't find one. But if you're in a couple of networking groups, I want to make sure that you're going to networking events that aren't the same people over and over and over again. And I see this a lot. And one could argue, well, isn't that the point of networking to meet people? Yes, it is. I would suggest that the more you diversify who you're meeting, the more new ideas you're going to have and the more you're going to expand your brain. So, if you keep going to these same events and seeing the same people, you're going to keep having the same conversations. And there's some value in that. These can become your friends, they can become your business friends, or you can do something different, go to a different kind of networking event. If you're in a service industry and you work for yourself and you're not going to your clients' networking events, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. So what I mean by that is, let's say you sell tattoo machines. I don't even know what they're called to make tattoos on people. Needles. I don't know what the machines are called, but let's say you sell those or you're a specialist in those. If you should be going to the tattoo conventions or you should be going to where your tattoo clients are. Let's say you sell vitamins. Let's say you sell vitamins to mothers, young mothers. Let's say you sell vitamins to young mothers. Don't be going to the vitamin conventions. You should be going, where are the young mothers? Where are they hanging out to help grow your business? That's client specific. When we're talking about your own network, again, I talked about this earlier, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Who you're surrounding yourself will absolutely impact where your business goes. I have seen it time and time and time again. And I saw it with myself. I saw when I got back from this mastermind, my business exploded. It got so busy that I couldn't handle it. I had so much new business coming in, new ideas coming in, this new energy and the new brain trust that I had developed. It was like, whoa, it was like a fire hose. And I'm telling you, fact, that is it. Fact. I will leave it at that. Okay. So my last tidbit today, Podsters, is make sure this is personal, corporate, business, whatever little circle we're talking about here, that you are surrounding yourself with people who respect and care about what you're doing and people who you respect and care about what they're doing. Oftentimes, we bring people with us through life and we outgrow them either in business or personal, or we go a different path, whatever, however you want to phrase it. And they become energy vampires or they become energy leaks, if you will, where, you're still kind of tied to them. But if you don't respect it or care about their point of view or what they're doing, it's probably time to move on. And trust me, you will be glad you did. So, Podsters, when you think about who you're surrounding yourself with, think about who you want to be, not who you've always been, because you get to decide who you are. And wouldn't you want people alongside you who also want you to be that person? Something to think about. And until next week, Podsters, I love you. Keep the feedback coming. We are large and in charge over here at Unmute Yourself, the podcast. And I am full of great new episodes coming up. I have some amazing guests coming. I have some controversial topics. We are keeping it real over here, and I can't wait to continue this journey with all of you. So until next week's Podsters, peace out. That's a wrap, Podsters. And before we go, I ask you, what's one thing from today's episode that you will use this week to unmute yourself? DM me, email me, send a smoke signal, whatever you need to do. Let me know what you're going to do differently. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone you know and leave a 5-star review on Apple. This helps me spread our message of empowerment to more people worldwide. Let's do this.